You have now arrived at Stadium and Gale.
Snap, the kick, it's been blocked again! Oh my! It's been blocked again! It's gonna heave one, deep down the field, it's gonna be to the goal line, it's gonna be gone! It's a touchdown! And the Gators have won the game! Tyree Cleveland! Oh my! I can't believe what I just saw! Dropping back to throw, pumps and fires the ball over the middle, it's Dory! It's Dory! Got a touchdown! Dory's got a touchdown! Oh man! Dory's got a touchdown! Hands it off to Marvin, he comes back, say goodbye!
Ahmad Black, in his final game as a Gator, takes it all the way home and sends Urban out a winner.
You have now arrived at Stadium and Gale.
Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Stadium and Gale. It's your boy Corey.
It's Dan.
Delatorre.
Ooh, baby.
Hey, what up, 2-5?
We're finna hang out, man. Been quite the weekend. Florida Gators basketball took an L. Outside of that, it was great weather, great vibes on my behalf. Didn't get into a whole lot. I don't want to bore everybody with my life. I didn't do anything special this weekend. What about you guys?
Happy New Year to all of you.
Happy New Year.
All the listeners. Yeah. So shout out to 2025. I think it'll be a big year for everybody. Big year for the pod, that's for sure.
100%.
I did see, and then we'll get into the show. I did see a jam band on New Year's Eve called Papadosio.
Okay.
Very good. Very good. Not normally my type of music. We kind of did a low key New Year's Eve, and there's an outdoor event place in downtown St. Pete called Janice. And I don't know, it's a standing only venue that might hold like 1,000 people. They're really, really good. It's like a little bit of electronic, but like just drums, a couple guitar players, just no words, just jam band. I was very impressed. That's what I imagined Fish would be like. Or
elaborate on jam band. Like, what's the jam band? Educate your boy.
Like, they're just out there just playing music. Like, they're not really singing. They're just kind of riffing.
Just imagine like the Hellman's mayonnaise, like the whitest thing you can think of. Just some dudes in the garage, just strumming, vibing out with each other.
Okay.
Yeah, shout out to Jake Slaughter's got a Hellman's mayonnaise sponsorship, doesn't he?
The kid from Spar, Florida. Yeah.
Yeah. But just if you like jam, it's like good background. It's upbeat, pretty, a lot of BPM. It's not electronic music, but they do throw some synth and some other, DJ type stuff in there. Not DJ, but DJ type stuff. You know what I mean? Like looping sounds. Anyway, that's enough. So go check them out. Papadosio, not really music that I would normally recommend, but nobody that listens to this pod likes the music I recommend. So maybe this can be the one.
No, that's what's up. You get into anything special for New Year's, man? Jordan, what you get into?
Yeah, man. I had a pretty chill New Year's, but this weekend I went on a cruise with the fam, brought the kids with me. We had a blast. It was for my wife's little brother 18th birthday, so he had all his high school friends on there. Them boys was going crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a great time for them. I was more of babysitting them, but it was a good time, man. That was my first time going on like a real big cruise. Like I think my first cruise was like a little small Margaritaville. It was a little just me and my girl went for the weekend, but this one was Royal Caribbean, and we went to the Bahamas, stayed there for a little bit. Nice. We had a nice little room with the kids, great balcony view. It was amazing. So overall, good experience, though. I loved it.
Smart for the 18-year-old to go to the Bahamas where they can drink.
Come on, them boys is turned up.
That's the move for the 18th birthday. It's like everyone's like, "Oh, let's go to Vegas." Like you can't do anything in Vegas at 18. Let's go to the Bahamas.
Get them international water, baby.
I tell you what, man, they're gambling and drinking.
Yes, he was on the tables and stuff, all that.
What you just said? You just said you were babysitting, and you're like, yeah, they were on the tables, they were rolling dice, they were drinking.
Yeah, but you got to tell them what
this is not the resume you want
as
babysitter here.
Nick is a terrible babysitter. You know, I want a babysitter that has fun, keeps me in check.
Yeah.
Nick wants somebody locking in your room and putting tape on the door to see if you're leaving at night. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying,
I wanted them boys to be hanging out, man. I wanted them to enjoy the experience. Everybody paid their money. Everybody was, you feel me, making it right to get here. And shoot, I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna just make sure nobody passes out on my watch. That's all I'm in charge of.
It's like an official visit.
Right, honey. But I'm sorry for this baby, man. I'm trying to get my son in a toddler bed, and it's been hell. So
bro, we're going through sleep regression still. Just kicking our ass.
Man, Nick, you have a good New Year before we get into the show?
Yeah, caught food poisoning on New Year. So rang in the New Year on the porcelain.
It can only come up from here. You know what I mean?
Just hugging really, really tough start to the New Year in terms of that. So hopefully the rest of the year gets better.
I think it will. We got some announcements coming up that I think will be the beginning of what could be a fantastic year for Stadium and Gale shortly, maybe the next couple days. I know we keep teasing because the date keeps moving, but I think we finally got a date here.
Yeah, we got a date. I think it's locked in. You know,
it's been 3 months in the making.
Yeah,
it feels like a year.
It sure does.
It feels like a whole year.
I had a black beard the last time when we started talking about this.
No, come on, Nick. Let's be for real. That you've been salt and pepper for a couple years now. Whole Florida beat took a toll on you.
Yeah. Like Obama at the end of his presidency, man. You got AIDS, my brother.
Oh man. Well, speaking of cruise, I know Greg Brunt from Brunt Insurance just got back from his. So why don't we get a quick ad read for our title sponsor here that we will get into the show?
Shout out to Brunt Insurance and Financial Services for holding us down. Anything you may need insured from the Panhandle to the Keys or anywhere in the Southeast, my man Greg got you. Life insurance, home insurance, car insurance, motorcycle, RV, anything that you may need insured, give Greg a call at 954-589-2204. The quotes are absolutely free. Don't cost a dime to see if you could possibly save some money. I'm pretty sure he can, but give Greg a call or you can visit bruntinsurance.com. Greg, what it do?
What it do, baby? Nick's not on camera, so I don't know if he's not available to give the commentary here. So,
hey, what it do, baby?
There you are. So speaking of Nick, this is an announcement. Florida Victorious flipped a staffer from the University of Florida, Bree Wade, who I know a lot of you guys that follow the show are familiar with. She resigned on Sunday as Florida's Director of Football Recruiting and External Engagement. She reports up into Katie Turner. She's been with the program for a few years now, but she was hired by Florida Victorious to be their vice president of marketing. She officially started, I believe, today. I know you're probably a little burnt out of the industry, and she has a background in marketing, but Nick, why don't you tell us a little bit about what she's going to be doing for you guys?
Yeah, she obviously very knowledgeable about college football, having worked in it since 2014, I think, was her freshman year at Mississippi State. She was a biochem major, and all of a sudden one day they were like, hey, do you want to come eat dinner at the coach's house? She was like, sure. And it was like a recruitment to be hosts for the recruits who came on campus. So she started doing that her freshman year at Mississippi State, did that 5 years there, and then has been working in recruiting ever since. But I think as NIL became a thing, as the portal became a thing, the recruiting landscape is changing. And I think she's ready to kind of help the Gators in a different way. Not saying she couldn't help in her old role, but I think she was ready for something new, and she's going to be doing all of our marketing, but she's also going to be helping us with content. She has relationships with every guy that's on campus, having helped recruit them. So high energy, really, really smart. I almost say girl, really, really smart woman. Have had the opportunity to talk to her a couple of times and talk to her today. So we're excited. We're excited, and I think it's going to be a good fit for her and for us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Joined the staff back in 2022, worked with Billy Napier at the University of Louisiana. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just going to read a quote from Zach Albaverdi's article about it. I don't know if you guys put out a press release. If so, I missed it. But it said working the recruiting world and just seeing how things have changed over the years post-COVID and with NIL going to play, I see how important that piece is in the recruitment process, talking about NIL and her new role. Of course, it's not everything, but it's an important piece in the recruiting process. Just seeing that piques my interest and excites me to be able to move over to this side of things and help. I think I can bring a unique lens or outlook to it because I've been inside and see what recruiting looks like. I think I'll be a great bride between the two because they go hand in hand. So I know that position, right? I worked in a staffer role in a recruiting office almost 20 years ago. It's kind of hard to believe, 2006, 2010. It's a hell of a job. That's a lot of hours. It's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of coordination. And that was pre-COVID and that was pre-NIL. So the world of recruiting has changed. So certainly I can sympathize with her and the hard work that she did in that job, and excited for her next opportunity.
Yeah, her first job as director of on-campus recruiting at Louisiana. She started February of 2020. So she's 23 years old. She gets a job to plan on-campus recruiting visits. And then March, hey, there's nothing on campus. So she had to, at 23, first full-time job, hey, how do we handle recruiting during COVID when we can't host people? And she built out their whole virtual visit. So, like I said, really, really smart young woman. And thinking on her feet, creative, and I think the ways that her and I will be able to work together, that we'll have some really cool content at Florida Victorians.
Absolutely.
Also, it probably feels great now to get tagged by random fans on recruiting misses and stuff going forward, right? Like getting harassed by fans. Huh?
She still will.
No, she's too far away now, but I'm pretty sure that's like a relief. A breath of fresh air, not having to deal with the maniac fans that tag Bree and Katie on recruiting things and misses.
Yeah, no. So I would imagine that that's a position that Florida will look to fill at some point in the near future. There's a lot of other things that the Gators coaching staff, or Billy Napier specifically, is looking to fill right now in relation to that coaching staff. So with that, let's break down what Florida plans on doing here. So Florida did have multiple people interview for a role that will be similar to a general manager role. Jacob LaFrance, who's been on the staff since Billy Napier got hired, currently has the title of general manager, but Florida is going to be looking for a lead front office type person, and it's going to probably be a few. That's going to include managing a salary cap, negotiating contracts. A salary cap is in preparation for schools being able to actively pay players starting in, I believe, June or July, assuming that continues along that path. So Florida is going to be potentially looking for an assistant athletic director over football and potentially a VP of football as well. So those are two things. I know Florida's actively been looking for this type of person. I think that they posted a job through a search firm back in August and have been having those interviews. So with that, let's get into those names. 4 candidates have interviewed for the front office role. I want to get your guys' thoughts if you have any on these names as soon as this website loads. So I know Florida is probably going to pick from this list of 4. That list includes David Caldwell, who's the former Jacksonville Jaguars general manager. Matt Lindsay, he's the former Ole Miss general manager. Rick Mueller, who is the current director of player personnel for the Arlington Renegades, and Nick Polk, who's the former Atlanta Falcons director of football operations. The 2 names that stick out to me the most, and from what I've heard, are potentially David Caldwell and Rick Mueller. But with that, interviews were last week on Thursday and Friday. So, guys, any thoughts on any of those names or Florida's strategy with those names?
I like the former NFL guys is like the names I do like. Since from what I'm hearing, it's more of a like salary cap type position with the general manager or whatever role they're calling that. So I know some Jaguars don't want to hear Dave Caldwell's name. But he's not doing anything.
Lose the organization.
Evaluating talent or anything, man. It's been a rough day for Jags fans. I don't even want to discuss it right now, brother.
I don't blame you. And then you have to call Jacksonville home.
Hey, man, you got players that are demanding trades, brother. You should be humble.
Yeah, no, I 100% sympathize.
You should be humble.
Jacksonville Jaguar fans and Jacksonville citizens for sure.
So I like Dave Caldwell in the aspect of having NFL salary cap experience, like that capacity. Matt Lindsay, he was with Ole Miss before, but no real NFL experience. Who else's name was on that? Who we had? Nick Polk. I mean, he was with the Falcons before. You know, I like any NFL experience. Those names piqued my interest.
Yeah. And then Rick Mueller, who's with the Arlington Renegades. Right now, he was, let's see what he's done. He's been currently the director of player personnel at the Arlington Renegades. He was the executive director of player personnel with Coastal Carolina. He was also the director of pro personnel with the Eagles, player personnel executive with the Eagles. He was with the Omaha Nighthawks, and then with the Saints for a while, and then actually with the Jaguars for 6 years as well. So, you know, another name to be on the lookout for sure.
Yeah, I think it will be interesting to see how the role evolves. But from what I know, it's basically like you're not recruiting. Like Jacob LaFrance is currently the general manager, but he handles recruiting and high school recruiting. So he's going over tape. He has a background of evaluating tape, evaluating players. They're making recommendations. He's evaluating tape as well as with the coaches. He's doing it on his own, doing it with the coaches. I don't think that's the role that this GM will be doing. I think this is more of, hey, we need to manage numbers. And if we are saying we want to spend X amount of dollars in the running back room, now I guess we'll evaluate talent like they did with Trevor Etienne. When Trevor Etienne got a number from Georgia, it was like, that's not what we want to spend on the running back room. And we feel good with what we have. So we'd love to see you stay, but there's the door. And I think it's more of that, managing the numbers, because as we joke around, sometimes today's price is not tomorrow's price.
Right.
With guys. And I think it's more of managing roster numbers, and you'll probably get into signing classes as well, because you're making promises and guys have numbers, you know, when they're 17 years old and they're seniors in high school.
So wow.
Let me ask you, Nick, and you might have to like recall yourself from this conversation, or recuse yourself is the word I was thinking of. With this additional potentially $20.5 million that UF is going to offer, how do you think that changes the amount that players are getting paid? Do you think that NIL will start to decrease in terms of dollars, or do we think that there's now going to be an additional $20.5 million? And how do you think that all plays out if you were to prognosticate for a few years?
Well, the 25 is for the school. That's not just for football. You figure out what of that 20.5 is for football.
But you guys do more than just football, but
right. But that's so that when you're talking about rev share, and rev share still hasn't officially passed.
Right.
Anticipation.
Right.
But if the school gets 20.5 million, then you figure out, okay, well, is that 12 for football? Is that 14 and a half for football? Is that 15 for football? Because it has to go to everyone. And you don't have to share that 20.5 evenly throughout your 21 sports. But then I think we still have a large roster. I think we have 90 football players on Florida Victorious contracts. I anticipate rev share being able to take care of some guys, but like DJ Lagway, rev share is not going to take care of a guy like DJ Lagway or a guy like Bryce Underwood at quarterback at Michigan. Like someone will get, if you're Michigan and you think Bryce Underwood is going to be fine with whatever his rev share thing is, then Georgia will let you know, hey, by the way, Bryce, your sophomore year here.
The game is still the game. Yeah, the game is still the game.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be a spot for. I mean, you saw even when over the table bags became a thing, there were still under the table bags happening.
For sure,
there still is.
You're not going to get rid of collectives or boosters. Things are changing. We're still trying to figure out how it's going to change and things like that. But yeah, I think rev share will be big, and the schools themselves will probably need agencies and learn how to market players since they're paying them now better than they do. But yeah, I think this is kind of the landscape of NIL where every 6 months we play a brand new game.
Maybe they'll stop clamping down on media appearances. Corey, what are your thoughts?
Hey man, don't cover that up.
No, just on NIL, right? Like, do we think that this is
okay? That sounded nuts.
Do we just think that this is just an additional now $20.5 million that's going to go to student athletes, and NIL will exist in the same way? Because like that's the way that I was having lunch today with the president of the Tampa Gator Club and my buddy Derek, and we were kind of talking a little bit about this. I'm like, I think you just increased the pool by $20.5 million. I don't think anything's actually going to change from an NIL perspective, or knocking.
They took a little pressure off the boosters. I just think they took a little stress off the booster shoulders, who's really like funding all of this. The fans who they're asking to contribute to this in some capacity. You just take a little pressure off of them, but the game is still the game. Like if people thinking programs are just going to survive off the rev sharing, like Nick said, you're going to have programs that value these kids a little bit higher. The game is still the game. Bags going to get dropped. They're going to take care of people to get them to their program. So long as we don't have the mindset, and I don't foresee, what we got going on, how we cooking right now, us like depending and leaning on that solely. So I don't think a whole lot is changing outside of them taking some pressure off the people that don't get no profit for their returns. What they invest in this thing. It's just
that's a fact though. This game is definitely gotten crazy right now, man.
Florida Victorious we're making new hires. We're expanding. We're not Florida, the University of Florida, the UAA, and my company, Florida Victorious, have no notion that rev share is going to completely negate the need for collectives or any organizations like us.
I think I think the only thing it does is it probably puts a little bit more pressure on you guys, because now there's a lot of schools that are doing a baseline. So now what are you going to do to be the extra cherry on top?
Right.
So shout out to the kids. You know what I mean? Feel bad for, booster wallets, but shout out to the kids. We're doing well.
They just spend that money.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the rev sharing,
Gainesville economy too, while we're at it.
Jordan played college football a decade too early.
I'm trying to tell you, I'm mad at my mama right now.
Oh man.
I think rev sharing could be more incentive based, I would say. Some of the players that are demanding checks that aren't playing whatsoever. I wonder how that works with the rev sharing part of it. Like there are some like kids that are like second, third on the depth chart that are maybe getting tampered with from another program, interested in hitting the portal. Like, what does their baseline look like? Because there's some 3-star kids that right now are getting decent checks to go, like NIL checks to even sign and come to a school. I wonder how that changes with like rev sharing. Just curious.
Yeah, and I'm just curious about where college football goes, right? Because I would imagine at some point people are going to start demanding some like longer term contracts, right? And we've never lived in a world where there is a contract, right? Like all these NIL deals, Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, are semester by semester, right? For obvious reasons, because you just don't know if a player is going to leave your school. And while you can't pay somebody like John Ruiz talked about, pay for play, we don't do that. But most NIL collectives don't want to pay a student athlete that's not a member at the school that they are providing the lion's share of their money for. So I would be interesting to see if schools or if NIL ever goes, or paying players ever goes that way.
I think it's interesting that like they're setting up the rev sharing and things on the college side of it, and there's nobody really advocating for just a player's benefits, structure of like making sure they're assured certain things, like the NFLPA. In NFL.
Right.
So I think that's the future of like what organization is going to demand these kids get, maybe lifelong insurance. And because there's regular people, there's people that don't go to the NFL that walk around with CTE, like they got regular jobs. They didn't make it to the league. They played D1 football and was just walk on. It was just getting smashed out there, bro. When they leave the game, like them brains mashed potatoes, and they got to go be a PE teacher, So just from that aspect, like how do they get benefits from the players outside of just the rev sharing? Like what does that look like? Like somebody got to represent them eventually.
That
I do think
they've been kicking and screaming against that because you have to make them employees to then do that. You don't want them to be employees.
Yeah,
they're already employees. Let's cut the charades here, man.
Yeah, I mean it's a legal thing. I would imagine that would really not probably work out in anybody's.
I'm just bringing you the mail. Yell at me for what's inside the envelope.
I do think they should do something along the lines. Yeah, I do think they should do something along the lines of like you mentioned, like the NFLPA for like the NFL. They should do something like that for the college guys. Just not necessarily like from an insurance standpoint, but just more of like giving them their money in like partial parts, not just a full lump sum throughout the year. And then now you got a 17-year-old kid that got over $200,000 in his pocket. He going back home and he just came back to campus after the offseason. Now he got $9,000 left. Like, what did you just do? Like, versus you giving him 20.
And Uncle Sam hadn't even taken his half yet, and you only got $9,000.
And their agent hasn't taken their half. That check's going to come.
April's going to be a tough learning experience.
Yeah, I remember Ahmad telling the story about the first time his agent hit him up at the end of his first year. He's like,
they
I didn't know it was on gross pay. I thought it was on net pay. So that 3% at $1 million compared to 3% at $500,000 is an awfully different number, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think that there's still a lot to figure out, with labor laws and insurance and everything else, and how long does somebody need to play out of school, right? Like the NFL doesn't give you lifelong insurance for just making it to the NFL. They give you access to a 401k. You have to be there for what, 3?
You got to be vested 3 years.
Yeah, you have to become vested, right, Jordan? So those are all things that I think they're still trying to figure out. But this is what happens when you sit on your thumbs for 30 years and nothing happens, and all of a sudden it all happens in 4 or 5 years, right? Unfortunately, right after Jordan left.
Right, so sad. And I also feel like the disability aspect of it too. I know you mentioned like these kids gonna be walking around with CTE, etc. Like, I wonder how that's going to play out in the future if these kids are going to be able to come and try to claim some disability money because maybe I can't work because etc. My body doesn't allow me to work, or maybe my mental isn't right after playing 4 years at a university. Like, you don't know who's going to come back knocking on the door for some money as far as like
it's on the way, my brother. It's on the matter of time.
I know it. Yeah.
So to some of what Jordan said, like obviously we're not providing like health insurance. All of the guys are 1099, but in their contracts, they are required. We don't make them go to like our financial advisor, but they have to meet with a financial advisor before we even start paying guys at Florida Victorious. And that's just kind of like the education piece to be like, listen, you might be getting a $200,000 check. Do not under any circumstances think that you are currently holding $200,000. You're 1099. Uncle Sam's coming for 45% of that, buddy.
And then 50.
45 of that is going to the stars and bars, baby. That's with Stars and Stripes are taking half of that.
It should really just spur them out. 10%, 20%. Just feed them a little bit at a time, and they'll be thankful because once you did your 4 years, you still got a little check coming in. Like you feel all right. Versus you just slapping me with all that money. It's gonna be hard for these kids not to go Dodge Charger, whatever kind of car.
18-year-old Jordan Scarlett with a fresh $40K in his bank account.
Yeah.
Hey, why wasn't he at practice? Oh, he's on. He's at Live in South Beach, bro.
Yeah, I'm about to say
it's gone.
That white buffalo. Let's shout out a friend. But yeah, no, I mean, interesting. I know I kind of threw that, out of, thin air. We didn't talk about a pre-show, but it was just part of a conversation that we had about what might change with NIL, should that go into effect, right? I think we're still waiting on what that might look like. That has a potential for June, July of this year, schools being able to do a distribution rev share. Just very, very interested to see how every university tackles this. Will they embrace NIL and still embrace the collectives and everything else, or now all of a sudden they don't have $20 million, so are they going to start to be shaking people down to keep the money in their athletic department? So all things that we will keep an eye on, but definitely the pace of college football changing is no faster now than it has ever been. All right, guys, let's get into offensive, defensive coordinator and kind of thoughts there, coaching staff, etc. Before we do that, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, if you will. Share it with your friends, families, neighbors. Share it with that FSU fan. Hey, share it with John Ruiz. He's starting a podcast soon. He can learn a thing or two from us. And we come through. We deliver on our promises. But before we get into offensive defense coordinator stuff, let's give a quick shout out to our friends over at Home Field Apparel. Go visit homefieldapparel.com. Use promo code Stadium and Gale, all one word, at checkout to get 15% off of your order. T-shirts, long sleeve shirts, sweaters, 3/4 sleeve baseball shirts. They've got that baseball pullover coming back in March as well. So that is Alumni Hall, or pardon me, that is homefieldapparel.com. Promo code Stadium and Gale at checkout. Again, homefieldapparel.com, promo code Stadium and Gale. All right, guys, let's get into the offensive defense coordinator. The Gators right now currently have one open position on their staff, and that was because of the departure of Austin Armstrong. We do have some contracts that we think are up at the end of January 31st. We're not 100% sure if any of those have been extended or where they're at with those and what the coaching staff might look like on February 1st. But there were some rumors, an article that went around today by Zach Albaverdi that Will Muschamp was a potential candidate for that defensive coordinator position. What are you guys' thoughts on that? It is not going to happen, but what are you guys' thoughts on that?
I like Champ, man. Bring that energy, man.
I like the ideal of it. Go ahead, Jordan. I like that.
I feel like he brings that energy. Yeah, I feel like he brings back a little bit of the defensive swag we had around when he was having his run. Really and truly, you check his resume. Every team he's had, the defense has always been elite to some extent. Whether he's brought in good guys or he's just sending great pressure, just to, get home on third down and get guys off the field. So Chip is not a bad idea, but like you said, I really don't see that happening.
Oh yeah. I think it's gone now. I don't know how serious it ever was. But Corey, what were you going to say?
Oh yeah, just a little bit. Like the ideal of it sounds great. You love to have Champ come in to take over that side of the ball. I was wondering, just because he's a DB guy, like what does that put Will Harris? And coaching wise. So I was just thinking from a staff perspective of how do you reshift things? What's Will Harris? Because his egos as well, right? They're not from the same type of, secondaries. I don't think they call the same type of defenses or anything like that. But I mean, just ideally you would say that Champ trumps everybody. But, in a real work environment, egos matter. You got to talk to your staff to see how everything meshes because chemistry matters. So while on paper it sounds good, bro, I would have loved to have it. I just had some questions about how it would have worked, with the rest of the staff. And then I started getting skeptical because, I think there were true legs to this. But just thinking like, logically, bro, I don't see Muschamp. He's a Georgia guy at heart. You know, Curry is his boy. He's not on the field out there. You know, from when I was talking with my guy.
Kind of Vanderbilt, yeah.
Yeah, George Foster and some of them Georgia dudes saying that he wants to be on the field at Georgia, but right now isn't. So that could just be a play of, you know, flirt with the Florida Gators and maybe Curry puts me on the field at Georgia. We'll see how that plays out. But it was a thing. It just didn't materialize.
He wants to call plays. I think he misses that aspect. I think he probably realizes, like, hey, head coach didn't work out. But he is an elite defensive mind, game planner, X's and O's, defensive chess player. I think he just wants to get back on the field. He stepped down from his on-field coaching job to be an analyst this year. His son was a freshman at Vanderbilt. I don't think his son played, but was, you know, spending some time there, a little time away, helping Georgia, but definitely in a much decreased capacity this year. Shout out to Georgia, great playoff game, guys. Way to go out.
I also think Georgia plays a little not to cut you off, but Georgia plays a little Billy game as well with I won't fire you, but I don't think he stepped off the field alone, is what I would say.
I mean, you might look at egos, like how young is Schumann?
Schumann,
and that,
correct,
and that's the guy. But also, like, it's Kirby's defense, and I don't care if Kirby's not calling the plays.
Right.
Defensive guy. It's always going to be in the perception. It's Kirby's defense. You know, when Will was at Florida and he hired a defensive coordinator, it was
Will's defense.
That's cool. That's Will's defense. I don't care who's calling.
That's a fact.
You know,
who did he hire?
At times, it was Nick Saban's defense at Alabama. It didn't matter who was the DC at the time. It's Nick Saban's defense.
Yeah, but he had some
head coach. Yeah, Mullen's offense.
He brought some elite names at that defense coordinator position that have turned out to be quite well in their career. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like Dan Mullen.
EQ.
Dan Quinn. Love Dan Quinn. But Dan Mullen, Billy Gonzalez is the OC. Sure,
Brian Johnson was,
Brian Johnson
was. We got 3 OCs.
They just made Brian Johnson OC, and I think that was a great thing Dan did.
I think he called plays that last year, from what I was told, with Trask.
Somewhat. It was still they had like a collaboration. Dan was the one calling plays in, but there was a collaborative effort even on game day. But
I'm sure it was all Dan's scheme for real. It's just okay, I'll let you pick from my book.
Yeah. Here's my book. And you can read
it's like Ask Madden. Here's 3 plays to pick from.
Exactly.
But they're all like the same.
No, but I heard
him a multiple choice. Hey, A, B, C, or D. We can run all 4.
Hold on, Nick. Corey's going to debate you here.
I heard differently with the offense, because there was a difference in the passing scheme. So the passing game coordinating definitely changed the year that Trask went crazy. And then that following year, after Brian Johnson went to the NFL, there's a clear drop off in what the passing game just looked like. And I don't think that fall off of the offense from when Brian Johnson left was just Kyle Trask. I think it was a lot to do with Kyle and Brian Johnson both leaving. But I heard from the passing schematic, largely to do with Kyle. But I think
you don't think it had anything to do with Kyle Trask, Kadarius Toney, Kyle Pitts to
and Van Jefferson and other people too.
Emory Jones, Jacob Copeland.
Well, your quarterback coach was Brian Johnson. So if Emory was his guy, he was more hands-on with him than a Dan Mullen. It's going to be a combination of the fall off, because I think Brian Johnson was more hands-on with running like the day-to-day practices with.
Yeah, he was definitely on them quarterbacks though. Yeah. I give BJ that for sure. Yeah.
It was definitely it's a combination of a little bit of everything though. Well,
I do think the big thing to remember that for those clamoring for offensive coordinator, defensive coordinators, those guys are going to not just inherit the staff that they are joining. They are going to want to make changes, and part of that interview process is who would you want to bring over? These are the people from our staff that I would like to keep. And sometimes you just can't come to an agreement on that, right? Maybe you want to keep a DB coach, maybe you want to keep a defensive line coach or running back coach or whatever, wide receiver coach, whatever. But if you're going to hand the reins over and that person says, hey, I'm going to bring over this guy and that guy, like maybe that's a non-negotiable, right? And so there's a lot of things that go into it, not just do you want to get a pay raise and be the defensive coordinator, offense coordinator at Florida. It's, does this fit into what we're doing? And Billy Napier has a style of offense that he's not going to completely change by bringing somebody in. And there's going to be a style of defense that he's accustomed to, that he's going to want to run. And a lot of those things have to match up. So
here's one thing. I was saying this over and over before last year, and it was, if Billy doesn't feel like his job is in jeopardy heading into the 2024 season, why would he make a change and hire somebody to call plays?
Because he can keep that card in his pocket now. You know what I mean? Because then he could be like, hey, I'm going to get fired.
Hold on. If he did think his job was in jeopardy, why would you put your fate in somebody else's hands? Now heading into this year, hey, I still like calling plays. Clearly, still likes calling plays. Still calling plays. Now you have DJ Lagway to run the plays you're calling, and you're like, you know what? This would be a really good opportunity for somebody else to call plays for a generational talent at quarterback.
Yeah, but to take the opposite side, you could also say, sorry, 1 second, Jordan. You could also say, hey, that can be your last crutch to say, okay, I'll go hire an offensive coordinator now. And now we're fully bought in, and that can buy you an extra year. Now, I know we're going to say buyouts and everything else. Does it really matter? Like, I do think it matters from an ego perspective. And if you can hold on to that card in your pocket and only play it when you have to, then that could be a route as well.
I mean, if
Neil, I kind of agree. Do you think?
Go ahead, Jordan. You got it.
I was about to say, I kind of agree with Nick in that. Like, I feel like Coach Billy really just trying to hop on the Lagway train. I feel like it's no way he's about to hire somebody else to come take the shine of what he's able to, how good he's able to make people look. So just looking at how he called plays this year and how successful they were on offense, it's only going to get better as he gets more familiar with the scheme and the whole offense overall. So I think he's going to ride the Lagway train, in my opinion.
I don't think he was, if what Neil Blackman reported when they first gave him the vote of confidence is true, I don't think the decision would be just up to him. I think it was, hey, this vote of confidence and this extending to keep you one more year is predicated on something changing offensive coordinator play calling wise. If what Neil Blackman was saying is true with the vote of confidence and moving forward. So I don't know. I don't think the decision, while he may have some ego, and that may affect the hiring of said position, right? Like, do you bring in the guy that really just takes over the offense and you just hand over the play sheets? I don't think that happens. But just watching the bowl game, how it all played out, like the offense was it wasn't a pretty sight to end the season. And you want to that game to be the launch pad of DJ Lagway's Heisman conversation, and it just wasn't that. It struggled quite a bit, early interceptions, never got no chemistry. I just think it's that time for an OC, and from just what I'm hearing behind the scenes, the timeline isn't going to be quick. I don't know how splashy of a hire it may be, but I think an offensive coordinator is on deck. Just like you just got to read the room a little bit. Like people saying that the run Roberts, they'll believe it when they see it. If reports are coming out that they're having conversations with a Muschamp, like read the room a little bit there, brother. Like they're not just calling Muschamp just for funds and games, and then it's getting out to the public. Like Ron Roberts can read. He's literally just like you, bro. He can read reports, bro. So it's a thing, bro. I think some offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator shifts are on the way, and then like you said, Dan, position changes may happen as well, depending on who those coordinators may be.
Yeah, and you have a bunch of there's some chatter in the chat here about coaches taking visits right now. What?
Chat got the heat.
Chat always knows. Chat's always level-headed.
No. Chat's talking.
Straight facts.
Hey, chat. This is for you. There's a lot of people saying, "Hey, these coaches, Rob Sale, Ron Roberts, etc., are taking visits right now." Well, it's their job. Still, they are in a job.
Yeah, still hired.
January 31st, right? Like whether they've been extended or not. Like the coaches right now that are running up on their contracts expiring are Rob Sale, Billy Gonzalez, Jabbar Jalouk, Mike Peterson, and then strength coach Tyler Miles. I don't see all of them leaving. Like I think Jabbar Jalouk is for sure coming back. If I were to venture a guess, I would say that Rob Sale and Mike Peterson are probably the names that I would be the most concerned about on February 1st not being on the staff, but that's just my opinion here. But they do have a job. So chat, when you're talking about these visits and recruits and everything else that they're doing, that's where they're doing their job. They are still gainfully employed for the next 25 days.
You're contractually obligated when the head coach, if you're on, it could be January 29th and coach says, hey, I need you to come to Jesuit with me. Coach, I'm busy.
Welcome to Tampa, brother.
Coach, I'm busy
packing, coach. I'm packing, bro, boy.
Meet with my real estate agent. No, you're not.
Yeah.
Like, though, that happened to me during my recruiting process. T-Rob was literally like at my high school recruiting the hell out of me. And then 2 weeks later, where's T-Rob? South Carolina. I'm like, wasn't this motherfucker just here the other day?
He's just here. He's just wearing orange and blue. What's this black?
He was just selling me a dream to come to Florida. What happened? There's no way you didn't have a clue what was going on.
New polo, same pitch, baby.
Yeah.
Say that. Yeah.
It's crazy how every place a coach goes to has the best fans.
It's crazy. The best atmosphere, best game day.
Best game day.
The best support staff, tutors, everything
you want everywhere.
You know what?
Also, it's coaching is it's a small circle as well. And you're not going to get the reputation as a coach of like, oh, he quit. Like he packed it up and he walked in at 9 a.m., put his feet up on his desk.
It's a job still, it's like any other job.
Yeah. Like they have to get other jobs. And if they get the reputation of like, oh, even when he knew he wasn't going to be extended, he just mailed it in. Well, I don't want that guy on my staff. I don't want the guy that's going to quit.
I mean, some of these guys are making, if you extrapolate it out, like $2,000 to $3,000 a day. Your ass will be at Jefferson High School in Tampa.
Also, you're on a private jet. You're on a 45-minute private jet.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to hop on the private plane and go to North Carolina today. Like,
man. I got to get on the PJ to go to Miami. Ugh.
Yeah, he's not going into a call center.
You're right.
So chat, talking to you, all 1,904 people of you that are watching. That's what's going on when you see those photos. So still waiting on news on those coaching extensions and what that might look like from a staff perspective. We do expect there to be a little bit of turnover here on the coaching staff, as well as some changes. Was it CJ Wharton? What was his name? One of the staffers just left to become the new coach at our defense coordinator at Georgia State,
Wharton.
I believe. Or
DB. Wharton was a receiver.
Kiss the baby, CJ Wharton.
Kiss the baby.
No, who
elite lies about him, Jordan.
Vari. That's what Vari started them lies too, man. Vari lied about Wharton.
My boy was like that, bro. My boy was like that.
Don't do this.
Don't do this. He was a little bit too much of a Midtown legend.
I was about to say my boy couldn't stay off that drink. He died.
CJ Wharton was nice on the
field. He was so nice, bro. For show hands.
Nicer at the bar.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
I did not think we were going to talk about CJ Wharton on this podcast.
I had the same career arc. I was very nice on the baseball field. And then I started drinking beer, and I was like, damn, this stuff tastes good.
So who was it?
Mitts.
One of the staffers just left to go to Georgia.
It's Wilford, man, not Warford.
He was a defensive analyst. He worked with the safeties.
What's his name?
CJ Wilford.
Man, I was so close. Thank you.
You were close. You're pretty close. But I know
honestly, your mispronunciation brought us to a great place. Reminiscing.
I mean, CJ Wharton's a Gator legend. You know what I mean?
Baby, Midtown legend.
We need to get him on the pod. Jordan,
That's not a hard one. That's an easy buy right there.
Yeah, no, I
Get that boy
know.
on the pod.
But the stories he could share from Cantina,
Where is
Right.
he? Is he good?
He's Johnny Manziel without the Heisman.
I seen him the other day. Crazy enough, I was at the wharf and I saw him out there at the
Of
wharf.
course, he's
Right.
at the wharf.
Of course, saw him at the wharf. But yeah, I saw him at the wharf. Chopped it up for a second. This is earlier this year, maybe.
He was at his normal booth at the wharf.
Right.
yeah, let's get him on the pod.
Everybody knows your name.
Bring Vari on too. Vari can ask some guest questions.
Bro, that he was one of the first players where people were like, "Yo, Nick, you lied. You said this guy was so good. You said this. You said that." And I'm like, bro, I'm like,
Nick's
he's him. He is him.
Got to be
From
pages
player to
long
player,
now.
he was a baller, bro. He
You
was
just give it up in practice.
Bro, he makes people look stupid.
Thank you. He going against the ones, making them boy DBU who he got the boys looking silly out there.
And they're probably looking at him like, who is this white kid? Just fucking ankles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bro,
we
he was
got to
just
do
snapping
it.
ankles. Just ACLs, Achilles. He can make a necklace out of Achilles.
I'm trying to tell you.
He was collecting bones.
Yeah.
Nice.
Bro, shout out to Kiss the Baby on Twitter.
Yeah, we need to do a. That's what we're gonna. This pod is an appreciation to him, CJ Wharton.
My boy.
We appreciate your on-field contributions. We also appreciate your off-field contributions.
Sometimes the biggest impacts are made off the field. You know what I mean? All right, let's get into the next part of the show. Any more thoughts before we part on offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, coaching hires, or CJ Wharton?
I could touch one more time on the OC. My fault. Just in regards to us hiring a new OC, we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but like I feel like if we're gonna hire a new OC, it needs to be an elite offensive coordinator. I mean, B plus, close to an A type of offensive coordinator, somebody who's really gonna change the culture of our offense, really utilize all the receivers that we got, also the running game. Like it needs to be a complete guy. If you about to take me from a B minus to a regular B, I'd rather just keep Lagway comfortable. Like, what are we doing here? He knows the system. All our guys know the system. We got some young guys coming in. They can teach them the system a little bit better because they know it versus everybody really on day one. So you really can't get anybody familiar. So I'd rather roll with Lagway and roll with his talents and all the talent we got on offense. And everybody's feeling comfortable because you play faster and you play better when you know what you're doing versus we trying to learn a new offense in the spring and we not really comfortable in training camp. Everybody not getting all the reps that we supposed to get because you want everybody to kind of get reps in training camp to see what everybody looking like. So then you go into the season, you really got about half the reps that you should have gotten a new offense, and you're just not looking good in the start of the season. Then we starting out the season slow, and then we pick it up towards the end, and people got hope because like, okay, we finally got familiar with the offense. So now we're all connecting and clicking, which sort of happened to us at this beginning of the season. Like we were slow start to the season, and once Lagway got settled in, he became the definite starter. Things started clicking and looking better. So honestly, if it's not going to be an elite offensive coordinator, leave me where I'm at. I think we got enough talent to carry us to where we need to be in the college football playoffs. So that's just my take on the overall offense.
I like that. I like that take. All right, guys, let's get into a quick shout out to our sponsors over at Game Time Sidekicks. Go visit GameTimeSidekicks.com. Oh, I like your cup, Nick. Go visit GameTimeSidekicks.com. Use promo code Stadium15 at checkout. We'll get you 15% off of your order. Tyler's a great guy over there. Runs the organization. Really great products. Keep your hot drinks hot, your cold drinks cold. Durable. Will last a long time. So go check him out. Go support a Gator fan and get some great cups for the season. We're about to be a huge cold front in Florida right now. So this would have been a perfect time to have a drink that will keep your coffee hot, your hot chocolate. Jordan, I know your daughter wants some hot chocolate, so nothing better than a Game Time Sidekicks cup.
That's a fact.
You're politicking for that cocoa, boy.
Yo, she don't play.
So go visit them, GameTimeSidekicks.com, promo code Stadium15. News yesterday, the Gators landed UAB safety Adrian Maddox. Adrian Maddox has 2 years, I believe, left to play, or 1 year, pardon me, 1 year left to play. Originally from Conyers, Georgia, Heritage High School, 6'3", 200 pounds. Some solid statistics on the year, including I believe it's like a 95-yard pick six, 99-yard pick six against Charlotte. No, I'm sorry, it's against Rice. Guys, your thoughts on Adrian Maddox that will add to the DB or the safety room that is looking to make some replacements due to some graduations there. But Corey, let's start with you. Thoughts on Adrian Maddox? You called this one early.
Yeah, I like his tape. As soon as he hit the portal, and I seen there was some interest in with us, and they set up a visit with him. So went and checked out some of his games at UAB. Tall kid, he's how you want to make that position these days. What, like 6'2", forgetting his weight, but long arms, rangy kid, 200 pounds. He's from Georgia. He's from Conyers, Georgia. Came down to us in Georgia. I know Arkansas, some others wanted him as well. A lot of people thought he was heading to Georgia up until he made the announcement last night. Had 44 tackles, the interception that you spoke of, 7 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, 83.1 coverage grade. He was actually the highest graded defensive player on his roster. Very, very good get. I think it depends on how Aaron Gates. I heard he's ahead of schedule with his recovery, but it just depends on how Aaron Gates bounces back. This guy has 1 year to play. So if Aaron is a little late on his getting back, then you still got 2 guys at that position that could get buckets between him and Sharif Denson. So I like to get, man, guys that's going to contribute. He only got 1 year to play. I think he could be a difference maker.
Absolutely. Nick, Jordan, any thoughts? I mean, echo what Corey said.
Physical as well. Like he brings the hammer. Like he with all the smoke in the run game, running the alley. I don't want to keep talking, but he's gonna dislodge that ball out of your hands. Like
two forced fumbles, 1 interception on the season, 7 pass breakups. So again, statistically for a safety, very, very good.
Yeah, I agree. Echoing what all y'all said, man. He's definitely just a physical dude, and I feel like that's what we need in the DB room. We got a lot of ball hawks already, so if we can get somebody to come really fit the run game and just help us out in the box, that's a major plus. We always love some physical guys out there in the secondary because we all know the stigma on defensive backs. They don't want to tackle. They don't want to get physical.
It's a bad stigma. So,
I don't like it. I know, so I'm glad we got one of them heavy hitters. It's been a while since we had us a little heavy hitter. I think the last heavy hitter, in my opinion, was when I was playing Keanu Neal. It's like one of the last real heavy hitters.
Woo!
He's a monster. So I feel like we ain't really had no dogs since like him as far as the safety position. No discredit to all the DBs that have been through there. I'm not saying y'all boys soft, but Kiki was a beast. So
was Eden before Kiki?
Yeah, Eden was before Kiki.
Yeah, he was before Kiki.
Were you ever on the opposite end of Keanu Neal?
A couple of times. That boy right there, I don't know what a year it was. I think it was my sophomore year spring.
Boy brought that hammer, boy.
I fought around and ran him over not on accident, but like we meeting on the sideline.
Jordan's I accidentally made him mad, and then I had a whole left.
I'm on the sideline, I'm about to run out of bounds, but I'm like, you know me, I ain't gonna run out of bounds. Like I'm gonna drop that thing on you before boom. I run him over. That nigga got up. Literally the next day, I see him crying. I'm like, what the fuck did I just do? Like, what? Don't come for me, my dude. And all game for me. I'm like,
Jordan's like, honestly, sir, I slipped. My cleat got stuck, and it made my left shoulder dip a little bit. It was unintentional. It was I gotta get with equipment that got me in the wrong cleats. I slipped. I'm so sorry.
Players that get so mad that they start crying are dangerous, brother.
What? I was like, I done brought out the monster. Let me chill out. But he was a beast, man. He always got the best out of him.
Jordan's going, you know what? Let's a little Gatorade.
I got my eyes on a swivel, even without the ball. I'm thinking he would have just come try to hit me.
Nick, any thoughts on Adrian Maddox?
Yeah, I think great player.
Nice.
I hadn't really heard anything on Aaron Gates. Obviously, just his reaction when he went down as someone who had ACL surgery before. He's not going to be someone who's ready for the spring to go. So you need. I don't want to say this because he's more. I think Adrian's more than a body, but you need bodies in the spring. But I think this is a kid. He's a one and done guy. He's not coming here to just hang out. Hey, you have degrees, cool. Just came to. You guys got Jordan? You got Jordan shoes? Cool. I'll come hang out on scholarship for a little bit. But I get a little Triquez Bridges in him. I think you can put him nickel, play him anywhere in the box. You can play him at safety. You can play him at nickel. So I think he brings some versatility too. And Will Harris quickly got to Florida and was like, "Oh, these guys, my room has no interest in tackling.
Yeah,
no interest in it.
Let's find something."
Immediately went and got guys as soon as he got to campus. Immediately went and got guys that start to tackle. The first thing they do at practice is tackling as a secondary. And I think you're seeing that trend too. It's like, hey, listen, we're not here just to wave our arms for overthrows. We are here to play full contact tackle football.
Another thing, he brings a different energy. Just watching like him in media opportunities, I think he's gonna bring a mentality that's missing a little bit from the room, like a little dog. It's a lot of confidence in that room. Like I expect them dudes to eat next year. We got some young boys that can hoop as far as the DBs, but you missing that one guy, that Chauncey Gardner like energy, that Matt Elam energy. You know what I'm saying? Like you missing that dude a little bit, and I think he could bring that type of energy in the room.
Chauncey will make your ears bleed.
Oh my God! One thing I give Chauncey, he talked that talk, but that boy, he'll walk it. I tell people all the time. I said that dude will run your ears down with all the smack he talk, but he gonna always pull up. He gonna always like stand on what he's saying, because most dudes do all that talking, and when somebody come run up on you, you tuck the tail. He ain't never tucked the tail one time I seen him, so I got to salute to Chauncey, give him his flowers for that one.
That's how I would be on Moncrief Street.
Yeah, that's hilarious for so many different reasons, man.
Oh man. So Adrian Maddox, Gators probably looking for just one more in the transfer portal. That is the second player that Florida has gotten from Georgia, J. Michael Sturdivant, and then of course Adrian Maddox. So
running down on them boys, man.
Absolutely.
We'll have some content on Florida Victorious with J. Michael next week.
Be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. Go join. Go become a member of Florida Victorious. Go pay Bree's salary and Nick's salary. You know what I mean?
Why you put it like that?
I think our salaries are taken care of. Your money is going to the players, and the players make a lot more than we do.
Like, damn, put that crazy as hell, man.
Well, no, I mean it's true. You gotta join, right? It's not a not for profit. I don't know.
You know what? Let's go. We're doing a live show on Moncrief. We're gonna drop Dan's pin.
I'm here for it. A good barbecue spot.
Yeah, Jerome's, man. Jerome's.
Probably not, Nick. What do you mean? I feel like that would probably be the most elite barbecue for a variety of obvious reasons in Jacksonville.
I'm just assuming Jacksonville didn't have good barbecue.
Yeah. No, shout out to Jacksonville.
Unless it's their football team barbecue chicken.
That's not funny. That's not funny.
All right, let's get into some predictions. It's what everybody's been waiting for here. Before we do that, we're going to put an ad read because that's what we do. Go visit our friends over at Alumni Hall. Go visit alumnihall.com. Go visit them on Archer Road as well. Tell them Stadium and Gale sent you. Anything that you want, from t-shirts to polos to jackets to sweaters to golf supplies and accessories to Christmas ornaments to baby through grandparent, maybe even great grandparent, who knows? Anything that you'd want Florida Gators wise, Alumni Hall is the place to go. Shout out Alumni Hall and go visit them at alumnihall.com. Is there a good barbecue spot? It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, a little out of pocket with that comment, you know what I mean? But somebody said something before, and I think it was Barkey, and I think Corey agreed it was Jerome. So, all right, guys, let's get into a prediction show. It's what we've been talking about for the past week. Let's get through a few, and then you guys can bring some to your table. All right, prediction. What off-season change do you predict is going to happen?
What are we talking? I got one for you. Strength and conditioning coach. Strength and conditioning coach. We get a new one. Yeah, we get a new one.
Okay.
No shot at whoever got the job now.
Yeah,
was hockey? Miles?
Yeah, hockey is, no, I don't believe hockey will be employed on February 1st at UF, but I don't know. I don't want anybody to lose their job, but it's not my money.
Me neither, but we're making predictions. This is your segment, bro. So
well, it's our segment.
My job.
Mine is I think
coach. Got it.
Yeah, I think Mike P moves on. I think he goes somewhere else. His son just went to, I forgot what school, but a small school somewhere. And I won't be surprised if he either takes a bigger job or goes to coach's son. So my take is Mike P. is out off the staff.
Okay. Nick?
I'm going to say I'm going to go against Corey, say Tyler Miles is back.
Ooh.
And go with Jordan. Say Mike P's out.
Yeah, prognosticated Mike P's probably going to be gone. I think that the Gators will hire 4 new coaches, on-field coaches, before spring practice. Right. So I'm going to go with the Gators hire 4 new coaches. I think there might be a shakeup. You hire a new DC. I think that you have a DC on staff right now whose role is TBD / maybe not here. So I'm going to go with 4+ changes to the coaching staff. Who is your prediction for recruit that is going to have a breakout season? So class of 2025 recruit, not transfer portal. That'll be next.
We're with Vernell Brown.
Okay.
Yeah, big Gator. He knows what it is to be a Gator. He's been around the building a long time before he was ever a Gator. So I think he has the most desire to want to make a big impact on the program.
Okay. I like that. Corey?
I'll pass to Nick for a second.
Okay.
Aiden Craig. Big opportunity with Jeremy Crawshaw moving on. Need a punter. No, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Dallas Wilson. I think I like the Vernell. I think he gets it. Obviously, a Florida guy. I don't think it would have mattered if Jordan was the head coach. I think Vernell Brown was coming to Florida.
Right.
But I think you get kind of lost in the mix there because you've got T.J. Abrams coming back, Tank Hawkins comes back. Aiden Mizell, I think we need to figure out how to play him at the X or the Z because we've got too many Ys, but I think Vernell's a Y. And you've got Trey coming back, and I think there's just a lot of bodies there where Dallas Wilson's a big 6'3", 6'2", 6'3.5", something like that. Rookie on the outside. Get him in next to J. Michael Sturdivant, who's a guy who I think is a stud too.
I'll tell you what, J. Michael's good, but watching Nashawn Montgomery, I was watching between that game and the Notre Dame Georgia game. I'll tell you what, Nashawn Montgomery is a sleeper pick that is forgotten about, I think, by a lot of Gator fans. Guy can ball. Corey, who's your pick?
Yeah, he cooked up a little bit in the All-Star game. We haven't talked about the Under Armour a little bit, but I'm gonna go defense. Let me go Lagonza Hayward. Just a absolute baller. Brandon Spikes compared him and put the eraser vibes on him. He said remind him of Reggie Nelson. So I like his tape. I think the safety is a position that's going to be. I think Stubbs is going to have an opportunity as well at that spot. But I think that spot is one of the few on the team where it's just really open competition. And I think he's like, you just look ceiling. I know we got Gregory Smith. I like his ceiling as well. There's a lot of versatility in his game and range and being able to cover a lot of the field. But I like Lagonza Howard a ton. I think he's going to be a superstar in a lot of different capacities the more I look at his tape. So give me him at safety. I think he's going to get some opportunities there.
Yeah, I think that there's a spot. I'm going to go with Ben Hanks the third. I think the DB room, you've got some proven talent there. I think that you've had some injury issues, obviously, in the past couple seasons there. So I think that there's going to be an opportunity for him to play. I think that he's a baller. Let's go with Ben Hanks. If the room wasn't as crowded, I was going to go with Jaden Woods. I think that is a guy that is going to have
for sure
a huge impact at the University of Florida. I just don't know if it'll be his freshman year, just because of how stacked that room is. But if I were to pick long term out of this class, I think that might be the guy that I would pick. Transfer.
I'm with you on that one.
Same kind of vibe. Yeah, same kind of vibe there. Ty Jackson is a guy. Yeah. It's just a crowded room.
Hey, Ty Jackson has a younger brother. Is that what I heard?
Maybe.
Corey?
I don't know. I haven't done the
the genealogy.
Yeah, I heard
genealogy.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
If I'm thinking of the right player, which I'm like 96% sure it's his younger brother, I'll do some more research. I didn't do it. Why would I do research on a player I'm going to ask you about? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, I don't know, like, I keep up with the current classes. I can't go like
no.
Freshman, sophomore deep in Palm Beach County, bro. I don't have that type of bandwidth these days. So I just keep up with the current class. So I'm updating myself on the seniors for this year right now.
Perfect. Let's get into transfer portal player that you think is going to have the biggest impact for the Gators. Nick, start with you.
Sturtevant. I think I talked to my buddy Ryan Young, who covers USC, and I don't think Sturtevant had great numbers last year, but he remembered he said the UCLA just didn't use him correctly. If you went and looked at his like freshman or retro freshman year, the kid's a baller. Like 100%. Moves much better for how big he is, and I think you don't realize how big he is when you watch him on tape because he runs so smooth. But you're looking for somebody to replace the catches that Badger was getting, the catches that DK was getting. This is a guy who's bigger, but can also take the top off of defense. So I think he's going to be a huge piece for the offense next year.
I'm surprised you didn't go with Tommy Doman.
No.
He was a punter, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, big battle in the spring with Early Enrollee, Hayden Craig. Who will replace Jeremy Crawshaw? I'm on the edge of my seat.
This guy. I'm a co-sign Nick, man. Same vibe. Sturtevant. I think you look at some of his UCLA tape, and for a guy that runs a 10-300 meter, it wasn't a lot of separation. It was a lot of contested catches. But I think our coaches receiving, I don't know who's doing it, Billy Gonzalez, or if it's one of the assistant coaches in the wide receiver room, but they do a good job of coaching these guys up route-wise. DK had the same type of vibes at Wisconsin. I didn't think he separated well on the tape that I watched, but when he got to Florida, there was a big uptick in his route running and him separating with the type of speed that Sturtevant has, that 10-300 meter in high school he was running at. So, I think he's going to have a big year for us.
Okay.
100%. Shout out to Tyler Miles making DK faster.
Don't they have a speed coach?
No, he went to Washington.
Yeah, he went to Washington.
He sure did. That's right. Jordan, who's your pick? Not a lot. I mean, there are only 5 of them. So
yeah, I'm going with Adrian, man. I feel like he's a major sleeper, and just from what I heard from Bryson last time he was on the show with us, he was talking about how the defensive coach is preaching the boys being physical and being able to step up and fit the run. So I think he's going to be the guy that's kind of overlooked because everybody kind of feels like they're solidified in their position, and I just got to go into training camp and do my thing. And he going into training camp like, I'm here to take money. I'm here to take some. Mm-hmm. I ain't come here for nothing. So I think he'll be the major sleeper. Just by looking at his picture, he looks like he got some dog in him.
I mean? I like that take, right? Because he's a starter leaving to go be a starter at a bigger program, right? So Michael was, a starter-ish at UCLA, and it's not a great program right now over there. I think that he's going to have a bigger opportunity to make an impact, but I think that I'm going to go with Adrian Maddox there. I wanted to do a quick run through because we've never really done it. And I didn't tell you guys we're doing this. I want to tell you guys where everybody that transferred out of Florida, where they're going. Andy Jean announced that he's going to Pittsburgh. TJ Searcy to Texas A&M. Let's see. Justice Boone to Arizona. Quincy Ivory to JSU. Deuce Spurlock to Liberty. Kelby Collins to Alabama. Jack Pyburn to LSU. Jakeem Jackson to LSU. And then everybody else that's in the portal. Mike Williams, maybe you've heard of. Christian Williams, Arliss Boardingham, Gavin Hill, Marcus Burke do not have destinations just yet, but did want to do that quick update there. All right, guys, who's your breakout player of the year?
Player of the year. That's a tough one.
I got one. I'm going to go with, I think he ended the year well. There could be a couple. I could go linebacker. I'm going to go with Cam James. I think you're getting obviously LJ McCray. LJ McCray will be, coming off that edge, but you're replacing Pyburn, you're replacing Boone. Sapp comes back, but I think there's going to be opportunity there. Cam James is like freakily built, like his long arms, really long, fast. And I think we're starting to see him, like the game slow down for him a little bit. So I think Cam James is the guy I think could be up there in the top 2-3 in terms of sacks next year, getting after the quarterback.
Yeah, I like that pick. Jordan, what about you?
I think I'm going to have to go the speedster, Aiden Mizell.
Okay.
Hopefully Billy can get him right. He builds a nice connection with DJ, and him and DJ can make some big plays this year. Obviously, the receiver room is so stacked. I feel like it's really a coin toss to who really is going to be that guy and or like just really produce the most. But hopefully that'll be a good thing. It'll be so many weapons that they really don't know who to stick. They don't know who to double team. They don't know who to prioritize. So other guys can go missed and kind of make big plays for us. So I'm going to go with the speedster. I feel like speed kills in football. People don't realize that. So I'm going to go with the faster guy.
Well, let's go pick. Corey?
Muted. You're muted,
You're
Corey.
still muted, Corey.
First time podcasting.
Yeah, amateur hour over here, man. I apologize for the amateurism. I like the Aiden Mizell tape, bro. I think he's due for a big year as well, bro. Him and Ladway got some chemistry there. I'm gonna go with the former 5-star 25. I think it's Money Island time, brother. I think he's locked in. He's super focused. I think he's got a point to prove. He sees the opportunity there. He's been 2 years removed from high school at this point, and it's time to eat a little bit, bro. So give me Money McClain.
Like that pick. I thought about him, and I know he kind of had some moments this year. I think he's going to have an increased role next year, and I'm going to go with the flag planter himself, George Gums. I think that he's going to have a breakout. I think he's going to have a breakout year for the Gators. I think that he's earned the opportunity, earned the reps, and I think that he's going to have another offseason to really improve. Now, mind you, this is his first year playing that role on the defensive side of the ball. So, or is it his second? I think it's his first.
I think his second year.
Second year. Did he play a year at NIU doing it? Okay, so second year playing it, third year, huge opportunity. I know it's a crowded room. I know there's a lot of people wanting snaps in that room, some 5-stars, but I like George Gums. Now
that get off was crazy in the bowl game. I ain't gonna lie to you, dog. Like he fires out of a cannon with that at the snap of the ball. So and he got the mindset. We got some guys that should jump on the scene, bro. What else you got?
Yeah, what's
got the penitentiary body. Shout out to Tyreek Sapp.
Who is maybe not going to be a starter, maybe not going to be the guy that makes a huge impact statistically every game, but who's kind of your undercover like player of the year, right? Like maybe it's a part-time guy, Maybe it's their first year, but who's that guy that's going to put themselves on the map? Maybe they're not solidified on the map, but you're going to hear about him a couple times a year and you'll be like, that's the next guy to make an impact.
Mark me down for Kanan Daniels, 21, running back. I think he's gonna explode on the scene. Pause.
I like that pick a lot. Man,
I think he's most explosive back in that room. That back got some guys in it, but I think just pure explosiveness, like 0 to 100, who gets there quicker? I think it's Kanan Daniels in that room.
Yeah, so peeling back the curtain as much as I can, a lot of what football and our focus was right after the season was retention, because there's a guy like Kanan Daniels, and like, listen, you might understand that you're redshirting when you come in. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make redshirting not suck when you're going through it. And other schools will come and be like, hey, man, we would have played you. You would have gotten 80 carries this year for us as a freshman.
Yeah,
you'll get 150 next year.
Right.
Big tampering with 21.
It wasn't just him. It's like a lot of guys. But so a lot of like what's Florida doing? They're not doing anything in the transfer portal. It was like, hey, let's try to keep our house intact before we start going and peeking in other people's windows. So I like that Katie Daniels pick. That's a loaded room. Like I was thinking when Dan said it, I was like, man, maybe Jacoby Jackson. Like that's a guy who we thought was like, oh, that's nice that he's still here on the roster. And then Montrell goes down, and apparently he is a magnet for the end zone. And the dude just scores 7 touchdowns. So I think there's going to be a ton of competition. Trent Webb comes back. He's healthy. Jaden Baugh, obviously. You got a bunch of guys. I'm going to go linebacker, and I'm going to give
I thought you were going Jacoby Jackson.
No, I was. It was a name that popped into my head first.
Am I like losing it?
It was a name. It was the name that popped into my head first. I was just
talking. I used to get his running back takeoff, man. I like.
Oh, I got you. Nick as an open mic night. I got you, Nick.
Yeah.
2 players.
Yeah. If you can mute yourself, Dan, that'd be great.
Yeah. I got
you. I'm going to go with 2 linebackers. One, I think Miles Graham. We kind of already know him, but I think with Shamar leaving, I think he steps into that starter role. And then another one is Aaron Childs. I think you're just too freaky. You're too good, too athletic. You've got incredible football IQ. I think he's a guy who I don't know if he starts initially, but it's going to be hard to keep him off the field.
Can I talk now?
I'd rather you not, Jordan.
Same. Jordan, your go.
Okay, yeah. I think I'm gonna stay in the running back room. I'm gonna go with Jacoby Jackson. I feel like the running back room is so stacked. I feel like I hope Jaden Ball is a starter. And I always feel like the second guy coming in always gets all of the good stuff because you coming into a tired defense. And I do like Jacoby Jackson coming in on a tired defense. He's gonna score a lot of touchdowns. He's gonna break a lot of big runs. So I'm gonna lay my points with him. I do think the kid Daniels is a stud. I watched him in the bowl game. He was making some plays out there. So, and Florida State game, I believe he had a couple good runs as well. So I think he really is a good back too. But I think overall, I'm gonna go with Jacoby. Man, I feel like he's a stud. He knows his time is ticking. He knows he got a lot of young guys lighting the fire up under his behind. So when he get in there, he gonna try to make the most of it.
Yes, this is his money year. It'll be his last year. I like to pick Corey's pick of Cormani McClain earlier. I'm going to go same room. I'm going to go with Jameer Grimsley. I think that he's going to have an opportunity this upcoming year. Florida, had some turnover in the defensive back room. Going to have a couple new starters. Well, who knows, right? How long they'll stay healthy, but the goal obviously would be for him to play a little bit more sparingly. But as we saw, the Gators were down 4 DBs towards the end of the season there, so I think there's going to be an opportunity for him. Saw him play a little bit against Tulane. I think that he's a guy that's going to have a breakout year next year and really solidify himself as a starter going into his, I guess that would be his redshirt sophomore year there. So
I had one more.
Oh, of course.
Rod Kearney.
Okay.
Can I get another one? I mean, Nick got 2. Like, give me like.
Yeah, no, Nick's got 4
Yeah.
now. If we're keeping it 100, but that's fine, Nick. It's your show too,
I still have muting powers, so I'm going to start muting people here. Rod Kearney's the guy. I think you get Slaughter back, but he can push Najee Harris at left guard. I think he can push Damian George at right guard. Rod has kind of been like that center in waiting, but then you get Jason Zandamela. Rod's played left guard, center, right guard. He does not look built-wise like an offensive lineman. He's a kid that's always working. I don't think he takes Christmas break. I think he just goes back home and stays in the lab and stays in the weight room.
Nice.
But he's someone they've talked really highly about, and someone I think we've kind of talked about and then doesn't play, and then we talk about and then he doesn't play. I think going into year 3, redshirt sophomore year, it's time that he takes that step and gets into a starting role.
How do they while we talk offensive line, how do they view the tackle position, Austin Barber? Like what does that 5 look like? Do they feel comfortable with what we got in the offensive line room? While they trying to grab one out of the portal? Like what's the vibes?
Yeah, I think that's the one position I think you're still looking for in the portal. You got your safety, you got a receiver. I think if you can get a quality offensive tackle, and it might not be until the spring portal. Or somebody on, like Alabama just had a kid go in the portal, and people were like, "Oh, Alabama tackle." I go on PFF.
His numbers are crazy.
He's like the 11th rated offensive lineman in terms of PFF grades on Alabama's roster. And I'm like, hey.
Yeah, I deleted my tweet. I was hyping him up for a second.
We've done that before.
Yeah, I deleted
So you're fine with Austin Barber at left tackle. If you find somebody in the portal and you have to tell them, yes, you can come and play left tackle, I think you can slide Austin to right tackle. I don't know that would make him happy because right tackles and left tackles get paid a little differently in the NFL. But yeah, that's the one position you're looking for. And kind of like we said last year, you're looking for a guy who has experience, can come in and start, whether it's a one and done type player, a guy who has 2 years, but somebody who can come in with experience and you can put in that starting 5. They like the guys they have, Fletcher, right. Caden, all of those guys, but you're still freshmen, redshirt freshmen, sophomores.
So everything what is the battle?
Should be about increasing the floor. I wish I would have picked Jaden Robinson. That was an oversight by me. But I'm gonna pick one guy.
Guys,
that's the rule.
You go LJ McCray. It's just so many young guys, bro. But what is the offensive line battles look like for spring? Are there position battles? Or everybody kind of locked in? Like who is the right tackle and what's that battle? What's the
that right tackle is open right now, wide open right now. You're talking about Caden. You're talking about Fletcher. I think both of those guys have played left and right tackle. I just saw Rod Kearney posting some like workout clips. He's kicking back like he's at that tackle. But yeah, I think you still get Dev Manuel's back. Mike Williams. Mike Williams left. Sorry. Bryce Lovett can play outside, but I think you're looking for somebody else. If we don't get somebody before spring, you'll be looking at like Caden Jones and Fletcher Westfall at right tackle with Barber, Harris, Slaughter, George, Kearney, and then the 2 redshirt freshmen.
Nice.
Perfect. I think that's our predictions. We'll have some more predictions as we know a little bit more about what the roster makeup and everything else looks like. Going
in honor of CJ Wharton, do we do biggest Midtown legend? No.
Yeah, I don't know him like that. You know what I mean? Like I don't.
Would have been a young Jordan Scarlett.
I'm the biggest Midtown legend.
Would have been a young Jordan Scarlett at Cantina.
Oh yes,
you guys are having an event, right?
Hey, old Cantina was
old Cantina was legendary.
Old Cantina was crazy. Like
101, yeah.
Outside, like oh my goodness.
Outside vibes. The lighting is just right.
Let me tell you this: if Florida had a noon home kickoff, Jordan Scarlett was at Cantina post game.
That's a fact.
How do you know?
Buddy,
because
23, 24, 25-year-old Nick would also be at Cantina post game. Be like, did these guys even shower? I just got here after writing my stories, and they are gone. They have been enjoying the fruits of being a Division I football player at the University of Florida. That line's 3 hours. The only reason I got in is because I know Eric Zika, and I know these guys didn't wait in line either.
Between that and Shuck.
Oh, Shuck behind it. Man, good.
Yeah. Right. I used to just hop between back and forth.
Yeah.
Just see what's going on.
Oh,
I ran into
Jordan's doing a 3-cone between 101 kids.
I ran into Antonio Rouse. Y'all remember Antonio Rouse?
Sure do.
Bro, he looks crazy now. Like, he looks good now. Like,
so skinny,
bald.
Oh, word?
Yeah. So skinny, bro. So skinny. Oh my god.
I had put in some trolls out there, man. They did the team pictures and he had like small hands. So I had did the Burger King commercial troll with him. And he didn't find that shit funny, bro. I ran into him at Cantina. He was like, oh. He walked up on me. He's like, oh, his
Auntie Lynn is here, huh?
Yeah.
He's like, look, you want to see how little these hands are in person?
One thing about T. Rouse, he was just a generation too late because he was the Snapchat, Instagram man. Like,
he was hilarious.
He used to be recording everything, hilarious. And like people loved it. Like literally, everybody around campus followed T. Rouse on Snapchat, Instagram, just because they wanted to like see what he was doing, see what he was recording. Like, if that man was an NIL right now, he would be blowing up just.
He would have killed
social media, not even his 100%. Gameplay, just the social media. Like he was killing it, but our coaches shut it down. Our coach was like, yo, stop recording our personal stuff. What happens in our locker room stays in our locker room. He was never like really violating, but like he just liked to get the fans kind of an inside scoop of what was going on. Like we used to bring the boxing gloves in and like had the boys boxing. We were boxing the ring. Like he was recording that stuff. And like over time, Coach Mack was like, nah, man, we can't have everything getting outside. Like no more cameras for you, T. Rouse. That's why he ended up transferring too, because really all the coaches kind of hated him because of that. And like really he never got a fair shot. So he ended up just leaving.
Yeah. No, I ran into him. He was just like laughing. He was like, bro, you hilarious. We just shared some stuff.
He's a cool dude, man.
I told him, man, I do not fight offensive linemen or trench players, my brother. You got it.
Well, you got it.
You got it, bro. I'm just joking.
You win. Yeah.
I'm just here for likes and retweets, baby. Like, that's it. That's it.
Oh, man. All right, guys. Any final predictions you want to ask before we get out of the show tonight?
Let me see. Any predictions?
I got an over under.
What you got?
Over under 2.5 first team all SEC players postseason for the Gators.
2.5.
2.5
first team all SEC.
That's just first team.
Just first team, not the because they do like first, second, third, fourth ties. You get the third team, and all of a sudden you've got 46 people.
I'll take the over on that.
I think I can lay with the over. I was
debating 2.5 versus 3.5, but then I think the difference between 3 and 4 is heavy.
I think
I'm about to say the difference between 3 and 4 is a little.
I don't think they'll get 4. I think they're going to be significantly improved. I'll go, man. First team is just hard. I'm going to go under and say they get 2.
Oh, what a hater!
Boo! Get him out of here!
What a hater!
Get him out of here! Boo! No, man, it's a lag with error, bro. Give me 5. Like, I'm buying anything Nick would have threw out there.
They're calling it first team all Florida is what they're calling it.
Pretty much, man.
Got 11 of them.
Let's lie till we can't, man.
I'm going over.
No, I'm definitely slamming that over.
Slamming the over. What would you have? What would you have to pick, Jordan, for you to pick the under? 5.5.
I picked the under if I made the line 3.5. He might hit under.
Yeah, I'm about to say 3.5 had me a little iffy. it gets iffy around the
So
train,
I
man.
get booed off the stage for saying 2, but Jordan's saying 3, and all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, it makes
You
a lot
said
of
it
sense."
a little. You said it a little too confident, like it wasn't.
Yeah.
You feel me? It wasn't even like a counting in your head of any sort. You just like, oh, no.
He scoffed at the notion. Ew, 3? Oh,
No, I do think between first, second, and third team they'll get 8.
Yeah, for sure. I can see that easily.
That's optimistic.
Easily.
I like that.
Florida had 1 this year. Like, let's put into perspective about how
Shout out to
nice.
Rocco Underwood.
And he was third team.
Shout out to Rocco Underwood. Yeah, the first team All-American center.
Yeah, did not make the list.
Doesn't get first, second, or third team All-SEC. Make it make sense.
Hey, over under a half of All-American. Do the Gators get a first team All-American this year?
Yeah, I think Jake goes back to back. I think
back to back. What a prediction!
I don't see. I don't know. I mean, I know who votes for him, but I also don't know how.
I see their tweets.
Knowledgeable they are about offensive line play, and it's kind of like, hey, we had the center and he's back, so that's probably just vote for him again. Knock 5 on the line.
Lazy like that, huh?
So you got one All-American. I like it.
I go with 2, man. I think 2.
Jordan?
I go 2, man. I go 2. I got faith in the guys.
I'm going to go 2 because one of them is going to be in New York.
Come on now. Somebody's buying what I'm selling now.
Let's talk about it.
One of them is in New York. You can't be in New York and not be mentioned on an A list.
Come on now. He was just a freshman.
It's a lot of potential like there. If like I think there's so many guys we look at on the roster that has that potential to be first team All-American. I would say like I think Caleb Banks has an outside shot. Defensive tackle is a tough spot, but I think he was coming on towards the end of the year. The linebacker room, it just depends on the reps and who's playing the most. But I think there's a lot of ability in that room.
I think you're just a little too young.
Yeah.
You know, like unless you're just an absolute
monster, like
it's so hard to not get it as a junior or senior. Say again?
Yeah, the linebacker are juniors, right? Like Pup, Jaden.
Pup is, but
junior, Jaden's a redshirt sophomore.
Yeah, and then obviously all the freshmen will be sophomores.
Yeah, I think one of those 2 guys possibly can. We'll see how it all plays out. I got one for y'all. Over under 3 transfers in the spring window.
Out of Florida?
Out.
Double me up and over.
I can lay that over real fast because, Lord, we just got so much schools, man. We got so many 5-star, 4-star, not so many 5-star, so many 4-stars, so many guys that are planning, so many people who are expecting themselves to be a star, expecting to play, and they might not play as much as they think they will. And you know, people are they're brats these days. They don't know how to take the back seat and kind of just ride the wave and wait your turn. So I won't be surprised on a lot of dudes transferring.
Yeah, I hate the second window because if I am a baller and I think I could play, I don't have the option to go SEC. That's why it gets a little sticky in the second.
Unless you graduate, which like that adds like something into it. You know, is somebody at Florida, maybe a junior, a redshirt junior, could get them an opportunity to go transfer somewhere else as a grad transfer that they may not have had in the fall window. I just think 3. I mean, I could think of. I mean, and I know that you're not talking about like the walk-ons and all of that are going to throw their name in the transfer portal. I think there's going to be 5 or 6.
So yeah.
I mean, the numbers have to number. The math has to math, and also in the NIL era, it's kind of like I need to make plays. I like, you know.
I ain't finna sit here and just not be making.
Old Spice isn't calling me to put me in a commercial just because I look good. Like I need to make plays to get my name out there to get more offers than just whatever the rev share is. And if I'm going to be wide receiver 9, shoot, maybe I can go and be wide receiver 2 at UCF or wide receiver 2 at Clemson or
wide
somewhere like
receiver
that.
1 at FSU.
Burke went just visited UCF. Matter of fact, Marcus Burke. I think that was his visit. Marcus Burke visited UCF.
Oh yeah, be a good landing spot for him.
Yeah, 100%.
Under Scott Frost, I mean, it'd probably be a good offense.
Yeah, Scott Frost gonna try to turn that program around.
Good offense to be a part of.
Yeah, get it back clicking, dog. I think he should have never left, but I got why he left. You feel me?
Went home.
Good spot for Frost. Yeah, he went home. I don't blame him.
Went home, tried to make Nebraska great again, buddy. It ain't gonna happen.
I'll be honest with you. Even if I was from Nebraska, I would not leave Florida for Nebraska.
No.
Thank you.
Cool, baby.
Nebraska fans or Oklahoma fans came after me when I said, like, yeah, of course Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma for LA. And they're like, you dirty liberal, you must not know what LA's like. And I'm like, buddy, they bought him a palace in Malibu. He's not living your LA life.
Dirty liberal.
My LA life. He's getting paid millions of dollars. And they're picking up the mortgage. Like, yeah. Leaving.
It was a no-brainer. I mean, University of Oklahoma, Norman's like a cool college town, but like, come on, you know.
Then Oklahoma's competing in the SEC. Like, they're really not situated to be doing that. To be honest, I don't think it's a good conference for Oklahoma. So he ran away from that as well. Like, you're not going to be one of the bigger programs in the SEC. So recruiting, one thing you're in the Big 12, but now you're in the SEC. Like,
well, he's in the Big 10. And that's
but he's in LA at USC.
Yeah, no, I get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I saw his house when they like had a video of him at like a draft or something. Hey, he's not doing too bad.
I think they bought the house for him. Like that was part of the contract.
Yeah, they did.
That's crazy.
Not bad. Not bad.
Later. Couldn't leave Norman fast enough.
Yeah, no. All right, guys. Let's wrap up. Great show. 2,730 of you watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share this with your friends, families, relatives, neighbors, co-workers. Listen on YouTube. Watch on YouTube. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever that might be. Give us a rating, give us a review. That helps us reach more people, so we appreciate that. With that, brings us to the end of our show, boys. Same corner, same time next week.
Let's do it.
Yes, sir.
Same corner, same time next week. Hey, everybody have a great 2025, and we will see you next Monday. Oh, and beat Tennessee tomorrow. Tough loss.
Yeah, 100. We got to get it. We got to get back on the. We got to get this train back on the rails a little bit with the basketball team. But I think we're straight.
I think we're all right. I think we're all right.
You got to peak in March when you want to peak. Yeah.
Got an opportunity. We'll talk more basketball next week. See you guys.